Live on stage, the sound.
Orlando.
So, if they ready, the sound.
Orlando.
Yo, what is going on, party people? What is going on? We're back with another show. You know what time it is? It is the Sound of Orlando show with your boy Rome, live and direct on a Thursday, throwback Thursday night, man. And I'm so proud when I bring on my DJs, man. It's just like, bro, I can't wait to chop it up with my fellow DJs, man, because sometimes we get the glory, but it's a tough job, man. People a lot of times like to brush the DJ, under the sofa sometimes, man. We don't need them. They're not important, and they are important, man. They're the heart and soul of the operation. You don't get no beats, you don't get no rhythms, you don't get nothing without the DJ sets it off. He warms it up, he shuts it down. Like, the DJ is the producer, the DJ is the composer. So like when I get my DJs on, man, I always feel a little bit more giddy than I normally do. As a fellow DJ, the community, man, it's just such an honor and privilege to have my next guest coming on tonight. But before we bring him on, I want to shout out our sponsors of this evening. If you need a mask, if you need a fashionable mask, if you all about dressing fresh to death, hit up my man George at TomSons.com, straight out of Manhattan. Trust me, you're not going to get any mask that looks like these masks. You got to wear a mask. Make sure it's fresh. And my man, Jesse Jazz, legendary DJ in Orlando, legendary promoter in Orlando. And also, if you need printing, he is legendary. Any graphic work you need, hit up my man, Jesse Jazz at 5stargraphics.com. Now, like I said, man, anytime you can get a brother like this on, you got to feel like the world is in your favor. As a person that has followed his career and looked at the legacy that is coming out of Philadelphia, it's just like, man, Philly has been on some for a long time. I mean, they have really had the middle finger up to the rest of the world from the beginning. They did it their way. They never asked nobody for nothing. They just did it how they wanted to do it. They even set up the turntables the way they wanted to do it. Like, they just did it their way. Like, Frank Sinatra should have made a song about Philly, but forget him. We think about Teddy Pendergrass, right? We think about that Philly tradition of excellence, Black excellence. This is Black History Month. So I'm honored to have this brother come on. I mean, he's worked with so many legendary people, Steady B, Karis Wood, Kwame, the list goes on and on and on. And he is still doing his damn thing, showing his ass to the world. And that's a great thing, bro, because music never die and DJs never die. So without further ado, let me bring on my brother from another mother, my man, my mellow, representing Philly. Let's go. One time for DJ Tat Money. Let's go.
What's good? What's good, Rome? What's the deal with you, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, you already know, man. I mean, like I said, bro, I love just having our DJs on because we get to talk about the things that DJs see that rarely get discussed in public. We just laugh amongst each other. But as a DJ, as a artist, as a person that has seen so many different characters in MCs and having that Philly energy around you, like all of that, like, I mean, you definitely, if you haven't wrote a book already, brother, you should be writing one, bro, because that is a story. True. But before we get started, before we go into what you got going on right now. Let's take it back, way back. How did you start in hip hop, and how did you start the DJ process? What led you to those turntables, so those infamous Technique 1200s?
I'm going to say it really started from house parties at my parents' house, and I was about 7 years old, and my parents had a console, the old school big record player that encompassed like the records and the turntable inside of like a coffin, big old joint, right? It took up like a whole
Right,
wall. So my parents always had like all the funk records. They always bought, Brothers Johnson, Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, James Brown, on down the line. It just Breakwater, all that, Gap Band, Ohio Players, Commodores. We had every funk R&B record that came out, we had it. And they would play them on the weekends, and my pops would have like these parties, and like the family would come over. We'd have Christmas parties, New Year's parties, birthday parties, you name it. They always had a excuse to have a party, and I was the DJ. So, so I would come on because they wanted to see me dance. So they'd be like, all right. And what I did was I would line up like the 45s on, on the turntable, and I would line up the records that I want to rock to, get on a good foot, James Brown, and, BT Express. It was just like, that's what got me into DJing, just
right,
learning the titles of these records. I mean, I ain't said that in so long, and I was like 7 back then. And I still remember, I could see it. I could see the people laughing with the drinks in their hands, and I ain't know they was getting effed up. I ain't know nothing about that. All I knew was I could manipulate the situation and entertain them. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So I got
right,
up there, put my little stack of 45s on there, and let the record play. And I got out there and did my little moves, me and my cousin, and that was the start of it. That was the start of the love of it. Um, and then when I got about 10 years old, picture this: I was dating some girl, or she was my girlfriend. All right, she lived down the street from that same cousin that I was telling you I was dancing with. She lived down the street from him. So I go to her house, and her older brother's there, and he's playing records. So he's got 2 turntables. He got 2 BSR turntables now. These are smaller versions now. So I walk up and I'm like, What are you doing? And he was like, come here, come check it out. Now I'm already, I know how this operates, but he's got 2. So now I'm kind of like, 2 of them. Okay, let's see how this works. So he's like, come over here, let's check it out, see what's what. So he had like super rhymes. And these were records at that time. You talking about 79. I never heard these records before. I'm like, whoa, what's this? Some kind of underground, like Morse code stuff, like Lost Last Poets. I ain't know nothing about Last Poets, but it was underground like that. So I'm sitting here
right,
playing rhymes faster than a speeding bullet. Has more rhymes than the train has tracks, and it's just going. It's a 15-minute record. And I'm just like, what in the world? And he had Super Rapping by Grandmaster Flash from Furious 5.
right.
And I'm just like, those are the first 2 records I cut. Um, and I'm looking at the records, Enjoy Records, and I'm just like, I never heard, seen none of these labels before. But what is it? What is it? They rapping, and I'm just so like into it. Um, I left there, and I just started like, my brain never stopped off of it because I'm just like, this is like a language. It's like a secret language, but they're talking to me. It's like, it's
Right.
like I said, like telepathy or something. You know what I mean? So I left there energized, and he like put the battery in my back because I'm like, now I'm thinking about it like, God, I just need more of that. And at that time, you weren't hearing that on the radio nowhere. They was playing R&B, they was playing Rick James and Luther and Tina Marie. They wasn't playing no hip hop on the radio. That's like kid stuff, some bebop, some jive, or whatever you want to call it. But it was on the rise. By the time I got about 15, this is around my my dad's way. We had moved. My mom and I moved, but I was still being, stepped to Philly on the weekends. All my friends, they had like DJ crews around 15, and they were doing basement parties. So
Wow.
now I'm really like, hold up, that's Mike from my old block. He's DJing, and I'm standing there like a student, like looking like, wait a minute. I'm eager, like like I started out in martial arts or something like that. But I feel like I'm a black belt already because I'm like, I got experience in this. Hold up, I could do this. So I started saving my chips. I was like, wait, I got to get some money here. Got a little job somewhere, and making a little couple dollars on the weekend. Bought my first turntable. Bought a mixer, and then I bought a turntable. So now I'm starting to buy records and. I'm climbing the ladder here, and then I kind of like stepped in with this other group around my way. A couple of guys, I knew three of them, and they were called Treacherous Funk Disco. So they had their own equipment. I go over there, and they was a little ahead of me, but I went over there to see where they was at, and they were good. So
Yeah.
I'm paying attention. Again, I'm a student, so I'm just trying to like soak it up and see if I could learn something. And they had a couple records between the three of them. They had equipment and they were a crew. So I was like the odd man out, but I was kind of watching and seeing what was going on. But then they would let me get on the turntables, and I'm like, all right. Then I go back home, practice my stuff. Then to speed the story up, um, I had that Malcolm McLaren album. So yeah, that I had that record. I had that record. I had it in front of my turntables. So while I'm DJing, I'm looking at those 1200s because that was the holy grail to get those. Because I had a SL 101 and I had like a B20 or something. So a curve arm and a straight arm. And the straight arms back in the day they jumped like crazy.
Right,
So
right, right.
so I mean the SLB 101 was the truth because it was the closest thing to the start of a 1200.
Right.
And that would never jump. But I just couldn't never find another one. I have an internet to nothing to find one. I didn't know what Craigslist or nothing to find one then. But in any event, I just toughed it out until I finally bought a 1200 because I kept hearing that these are the holy grails, and I got my eyes on the prize. The cover was right in front of me every time I'm up there DJing. Every time it skipped, I'm like, I gotta get them 1200s. So I bought one. I had a nice mixer, and then let me see, I was around like 17, 16, 17, 16. And my mother was like, because I graduated early, my mother was like, what you want for graduation? And that turntable was like, it was like 300. It was a lot of money back then. You talking
Right,
about
right.
80s. So she said, you want a car? I said, no, 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 no. I want a turntable. She's like, what you got turntables? I said, no, I only have one, Mom. I got that 1200. She don't know what the stuff is. So I'm explaining it to her because she wasn't in hip hop. She's like, yeah, whatever. But I said, I want that other one. And then, she did the 52 fake out on me. She's like, I don't know what you buying. You wasting your time. She, hit the game on me. Then right at graduation, she called me into my sister's room. And I'm like, what's up? I'm thinking, it's just, we just living life. It's whatever. I graduated. All right, cool. She told me, go look behind the door. And I turned and looked behind the door, and the turntable was sitting right there. I could have fell out when I saw that turntable. I could see it like it was today. I was like, I just busted open, and it was so pretty. I didn't even want to cut on it. I just opened it up and set it right up and started DJing right away. Right away. I was just like, whoa. I said, Mom, I wanted a turntable because I could buy 10 cars with this turntable, opposed to you buying me a car. Let me get the
Right.
turntable, the other one, and let me get my skills up, and we're gonna see after that. So that was
Right.
the beginning of it. That's how it all started.
Man, and you said the realest thing in the first few minutes, from a DJ's perspective. That was the holy grail. Like if you got your hands on them techniques, you felt like you were Superman or something, man.
Oh my God. Oh
And
my
talking
God.
about, you went from a belt drive to a tech.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's people right now using controllers going back to a turntable. But didn't that prepare you? All the stuff you had, the workarounds you had to do to make those belts work, and then you get on a technique and you feel how that thing is working. You must have felt like you were in heaven.
Oh man, it absolutely felt like that. You went from the Chevy to the Mercedes, so it was
Right.
like, whoa, this is crazy. And of course there's some configurations of it. You gotta configure, head shells, because then this is early on, and I'm in Philly, so I don't know, what cats are using. So, I'm talking to dudes and trying stuff. It was all the trial stage. So again, this is, you getting your stripes at this point. You really just trial and error. Let me buy these cartridges. What about these needles, a Pickering or a Shure, or you're trying to figure it out.
Right.
So when you first came out, they had the big tall ones, and you realized they ain't work. I'm like, them joints was record. I'm like, what is this? Then you find out the Stanton 500s was the truth. So I mean, this is all happenstance. You just keep on touching on things and seeing what's what, and you're trying to see who uses what, and it's about your touch, and then finally we figured it out.
Now you're from the area, and we're probably talking about the time, or same time, where you got a Jazzy Jeff down the street, if not harnessing his skills, and be, doing stuff like, the transform, and, he's got a great MC who's just, and Fresh Prince, who's just saying, my DJ can do everything, and what was that like in Philly at the time? All of the hillside, all of these, the hilltop hustlers, all of this stuff was kind of going on. What was that like as a DJ in that environment for you?
Oh man, it was really the spotlight on us. So I mean, really, that was like one of the main reasons to DJ. It's like, all right, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, the really real reason is like, hey, the females are paying attention. All right, hold up, watch this. And then we were doing a lot. I did a lot of basement parties. Like I did a lot of like parties for females. So
Right.
they'd be like, all right, well, I'm that new guy coming up, and I started honing my skills again. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, well, how can I do this? And I want to sing, and I want to play the drums. And I'm like, get your 10,000 hours in. Get your 10,000 hours in on whatever you want to do professionally, and you will be a professional. I mean, as long as you put it's your passion, you put your heart and soul into it. I mean, that's what I did every single day. As soon as I came home from school, got books, jump on the turntables for 5 hours. I wouldn't even eat, wouldn't drink, nothing. So it's something that you got to hone that skill. And if you want to be known as one of the best, that's what you got to do. You got to give it your all, like Kobe in the gym, like Jordan in the gym. Same thing.
Right.
First one in, last one out. But at that time, we was really, spotlight was on us, man, because they took the MCs of that time. The DJ was first. Like you said, Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, Cash Money, Marvelous. The DJ was first. So basically, we had that spotlight, and it just felt good because all the tapes was wrapped around like, it's that energy, man, because of the parties that we did.
And I can't forget about Tough City. That's Tough Crew.
Tough Crew. Yeah. Tough City is the record label. Yeah.
Right. I can't forget. That's so damn tough. Like the cuts, the precision that was just coming out of there, man. Like it was just, you weren't drinking New York water. You were like, you're drinking Philly water, man. Like it was just, there was no like, because, a lot of cities try to kind of mimic, what New York is doing. But I felt like the middle finger was up from the beginning. And it was just like, screw everyone. Y'all gonna hear us. Y'all gonna learn today what that Philly do. And y'all did it. Like, I mean, I remember as a kid hearing that first Jazzy Jeff album, and I was just completely blown away because, rest in peace to Jam Master Jay.
Yes.
Jam Master Jay he was in the music as much as Run DMC was, and
Absolutely.
the only person that I can compare that to is that Jazzy Jeff's first album. It felt like Jazzy was rapping on it, and he didn't say a damn word. He just was everywhere on that album. What was that for you guys? Like I said, having that kind of, I don't know if y'all were feeling competitive, like, yeah, I see what he's doing, man. Fuck him, I'm better than him. What was it like? Was it inspiring? Was it like, yeah, that's Philly? Or was it like, nah, man, I gotta go. Man, you heard what he just, nah, hell nah, man. I gotta go in there and do this. What was that like?
You calling it, you hitting it. I mean, it's like, like, it's not like, you do know, because that's exactly, we had a FU mentality. It's like the big brother syndrome. It's like, like your big brother's like, got this stereo system. Don't come in my room. Don't touch it. And you're like, what? It's like he's keeping me down. But then, you come in there and you touch it maybe when he leaves, and you become better than him because of the
Right,
resistance. You know what I mean? Because they like, nah, you know what I mean? And
right,
that was kind of what we took that mentality, because there was no record companies in Philly. I mean, not really. There was a couple, but I mean, it was so difficult to even get on. And then you're hearing this stuff out of New York, and it's so prevalent, and you just like, what? It's Flash, and it's Theodore, and now it's DST, and it's like, golly, it's like, and they got 8 million stories, and records is coming out, and you just like, well, dang, what's up with us? I'm like, you know what? We got to get our game up. So what you heard from Jeff was all of our attitudes. Like, me and Jeff, I used to be at his house. Like you said, around the corner. I lived in the suburbs. Once I moved from Philly, I moved right outside the city. So I didn't have a car. And my MC at the time went to school with Jeff. So he lived driving wise, he lived about 9 minutes from where I live. Walking, it's a good 40 minutes, 35-minute walk, easy. So I used to walk from my mother's house to his mother's house. And he's a few years older than me. So I would go to the parties with him. And he
right,
had different MCs. You know what I mean? He had Rockwell and IC, he a couple other dudes that he had. But this one day I was over his crib, and he was like, yo, I got this guy coming over. He's dope. This guy is da 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 da. And I'm like, well, who's this? All right, cool. I'm in the basement DJing, cutting up on his tables, because he had the 1200s at that time. At that time, he had them before me. So that was also motivation to be over his crib, because he had them 1200s. So Will comes down the steps, and I'm in the basement, and it's just me and him in this junky basement in his mom's house. It's like, my basement is junky too, but I'm just saying, we was kids. But he comes down the steps, and he's got his collar pop polo shirt. I'm over Jazzy Jeffrey's house. And he's from my old neighborhood, Winfield. So I'm just like, oh, I know this dude. I know he's from around my old way. Bop, 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 bop. And then, we would start going to the parties together, and that style of bigging up the DJ was prevalent in Philly. Oh, look what my DJ can do. Oh, check him out. He's going back to back. Whoop, 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 whoop. He's got on handcuffs, and he's got it with one hand. And look at this. And look, ladies, and that was big on the tapes. So the
right.
tapes got around. So if you did a party at like Central High or something, that tape would like get duped, because the double cassette deck was popular. So then it just would get around. Everybody would copy it. Everybody playing the same tape. So that was inspiring too, to see like all the attention. that you would get from it. Because again, being that DJ, the females was like, oh, he's a DJ. Oh, I want to talk to him and woo woo woo. So that was like your inspiration, but also we fed off of it, competitively, friendly wise as well, but competitive as well. So again, me and Jeff were tight, are tight. But we all want our piece of the pie. So we all like let's go. Like keep on still sharpen steel. You know what I mean? So that's what we was doing.
What was it like when that Schoolie D dropped? And that,
Oh my God.
That look at him. Yo, I mean, the father of Ice-T, damn it. Like that was the sound of Philly. Like that was insane. I mean, I hear it today and I'm just blown completely away. Like all of that noise.
Yeah,
and
I mean
reverb and echo, and it sounded horribly beautiful. Like it just sounded like just great crap. And you wanted to play it louder and louder and play it longer and like that intro would go on for it would just go on for we play that for 10 minutes before we bring that in.
Yeah.
What was it like in Philly?
Oh my, at that time, I was working at the record store. I was working at this store called Funko Mart. It was downtown and it was underground. So it was downtown and you had to go down the stairs to get into this place. And he used to bring his records in. He would bring the boxes in and I'd be looking like this hand drawn. He scribbled on it and got his name and his picture and logo, and I'm like, yo, this is very, very inspirational. He's a pioneer, and it sounded so daggone good. Like you said, he was like, dang, like this dude is sick with it. And he was a little older than me, of course, but I'm taking notes. I'm watching, I'm looking, I'm just like, yo, he's bringing his own records down here, selling them. Like this is crazy. He does the artwork, he does the album artwork, he does the beats, and he rhymes. I'm like, this dude is nasty with it. I mean, we look at him as like the Richard Pryor of rap, because he was cursing, and we was in our teens. We was in our teens, so we really wasn't into that, especially on record. So listening and watching him do it, he was like, yo, Schoolie, wow, man, he a wild boy, but he was doing it with that music, man. He was doing it.
I'm from Florida, and we started listening to the Dolomite records and the Two Live Crews, and so we're already accustomed to hearing people cuss on records. So I need to throw that out there. But
that was wild.
Talk about what that was like working with Steady B. And
I'm gonna back up real fast too, like in connection to what you said with Schoolie, because I've actually toured with him. And gone overseas, and we worked together as well. That's my brother right there. And he told me in confidence. He's told the story, I guess, maybe once or so, but he told me that when he came out, that Ice-T flew him out to the West Coast to approve 6 in the morning.
What?
Yeah.
Now that I didn't know. That I didn't know.
You did know that?
No, that I didn't know. I knew that he knew that Ice-T used 6 in the morning as use that as a template or as inspiration. I mean, because you can't listen to 6 in the morning and not be like, nah, that's Schoolie all day. Yeah. And the whole album, if you want to get real technical about it, but the whole album. Until that next album, I believe it was Power. That's where he switched it up. But that first album, that was Philly inspired, bro. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, and I heard Dre wanted to sign him as well. So, again, he flew him out there. I was we was at Schoolie's house in his kitchen. He was telling me this story. I was blown away. I like that backstory stuff. So I was just sitting there listening, like, wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. Right. I mean, so I always wondered like how that came about, but they talk about it now. Like Ice-T gives him props, Dre gives him props, and it says like he's he was the father of gangster rap.
Right, right. And who would have thought that gangster rap originated in Philly? Showing your ass again. Like, just okay, we gonna get this DJ thing, we gonna get this gangster thing, we gonna get this MC thing. Like, no. I mean, it's amazing what Philadelphia and dude, I never wanted to live in Philly
Mm-hmm.
until I went to Reading Market, and bro, you can kill me in Reading Market. That is where I'd like to die, bro. 'Cause that place is just completely and utterly awesome. But yes, but once again, it didn't stop there. Like we were listening to Steady B, 3 times dope. Like the stuff that was coming out of there. Talk about that, like that connection with Steady B, and how was that before things went crazy?
So I'll take you again back to the record store, Funko Mart. Basically, I was working there, and I got the job actually because I heard that Mantronics actually got into the music industry by working at a record store. I read this in a magazine, so I was like, I got to get into the industry because I was a huge Run DMC fan, still huge Run fan. And they were inspirational. Houdini, all the early pioneers, and LL, of course. You're like, golly, how can I need to get on these records? Like, come on, you trying to push yourself to get there. So you're still practicing and what have you, honing your skills. So I ended up take the train down to downtown to get the Funko Mart. It's a good hour ride from where I lived, and so it's a bus and a train. Go down and buy a stack of records, and hope somebody would be like, "Yo, what you doing with all those records?" I mean, a huge stack of records I would buy for like $120. I did it twice, and the boss saw me, and he was like, the owner, he saw me, he was like, "So you know a lot about records, huh?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Well, you want a job?" I said, "Yeah, I do." So he was like, "Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have you start on XYZ day, boom, 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 boom." So I started working down there. So now I'm working in the hottest record store in the city. So I mean, arguably, of course, they might say Sound of Market or something else, but they were competitors. But Funko Mart, hands down, was underground. They had all the break beats. They had all the Octopus break beats. They had all the original records. Good Times, 12 inches, Pump Me Up, 12 inches. They stocked all that stuff. So, as well as all the new stuff coming out and jazz records and salsa. We had it all, reggae, all that. And we sold equipment. So I'm making like mixtapes rather, on the weekends when I come to Philly. I stay at my grandmother's house. So all week I would hone a tape, cutting up something, 122 and it's time, or fresh, cutting up something. And just something, take the train, all that stuff. And I would just pass the tape out, like people walking around with big boom boxes. And just trying to get some cred, like, yo, who is this cutting? Like, who hoping that people will like it. So that was the situation. What I found out was a mutual friend of me and Steady's was he told Steady about me and was like, yo, you need to go see Tat. He works down at Funko Mart. You look for a DJ, go see him. He comes down the stairs one day, and I look up. I see him coming down the stairs. Him and his old DJ, and I'm like, oh, here comes the Steady B guy coming down the steps. I guess he's buying records or whatever. So I'm just going about my business and doing what I'm doing. He walks right up to me. He's like, "You Tat, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up?" And he's like, I'm looking for a DJ. I'm standing there like, I can see it like it was today. And he's just like, I want you to, like, if you're interested, audition in a DJ for me. I'm like, okay, all right. Numbers pass, and I mean, it was just like 1, 2, 3. I got the job, and then next thing you know, boom, I'm making records. It was like God's plan. So
Right.
I mean, they came to my house, him and his manager, and I cut up like Peter Piper or something like that. There it is, there it is. I just did a little quick routine on it, and Steady was like, "See, I told you he was dope." And I could hear him talking, and he was like, "All right, that's enough, that's enough. All right, cool." The next week, we was in the studio making the record, the new album, and he had already done a few of the cuts, like half the cuts. So I did 4 of the cuts, and one of them was called "Stupid Fresh," and that one had my name in it. And he Steady being Tat Money with Stupid Fresh, and I'm like, I'm going crazy on that record because I'm thinking it's like a battle. I don't really know how to make records because I'm coming from that raw DJing in the room and on the street or whatever at block parties and stuff. So that was really where I was coming from. And the manager, the producer was like, yo, he's like, all right, calm it down. We're not like a battle or nothing. We got to make it rhythmic. People got to listen to this over and over. And I'm like, I get it. Okay, I'll catch on quick. So that's when I started, going a little more rhythm into it and making it,
I'm so glad you said that because I had my suspicions when I heard I'm serious, and the way you were cutting up that record was just, I mean, literally second to none. A damn cartoon record to me. It sounds like a cartoon. And you were just, dude, you were just going off, and it was like you weren't on a record. It was like they tracked you at a battle and they put you on the record. And it sounded so organic, but like Philly. Like it just sounded so Philly, like just so, like when you hear Jazzy Jeff, when he's transforming on those early records, and you feel like, damn. I mean, it becomes like its own separate entity, but it's still musical. And that's what I mean, first hearing that from you guys, or your presence in that. And I was just completely blown away by that. I was like, wow. He's got it. He gets it.
I mean, see, well, here's the thing with that. There wasn't like a million artists out at the time. So, labels would drop systematically or, schedule things. Okay, well, when are they dropping Houdini? We're going to wait till 4 months, 5 months after that so we can get more bang for our buck. Drop LL or whatever, and then boom, from there, and then they would drop Run or whatever. So, and that's what we did when we got signed the job. After that first album, we got signed the job. So, that's what they did with us as well. So you didn't have tons of artists out, thousands of artists out. You had like a few at a time. And so the whole world just had that to listen to. So we weren't oversaturated. So when I came out, I was up on the Grandmaster D's and the Grandmaster Flashes and all those dudes. But I was basically like, you know what? I'm gonna carve my history. They're gonna see my smoke. And it's that little brother, like Flash. You watch him, you see him, and I'm like, yo, he is the dude. He's that dude. Adventures of Grandmaster Flash. I'm like, all right. I said, you know what? I said this before. The money is all right, but it's about the passion of what you're doing. The money is really being recognized by your peers. That's the money. So,
right.
I mean, I bumped into Flash once at for the first time actually, and looking up like, yo, this is that dude. Like, yo, I mean, you get chills listening to Adventures of Grandmaster Flash. So
Right.
to put something together like that was just so artistic. So I was just like, you know what, I gotta get to this level. We were walking into, it was like the New Edition concert or something. Somebody gave me passes or whatever in New York at Madison Square Garden, and Flash was walking up. So I'm real chill. I don't had a couple guys with me or whatever, but I'm real relaxed, and I'm like, I see his Flash, but it's like, all right, cool. Somebody said something to introduce us or whatever that case, and he was like, "Oh, what's up, Tat Money? What's going on?" And I turned around like I saw a ghost. Like I said, "You know who I am?" He was like, "Of course I know who you are." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right. This is only Flash." I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy." I mean, that was the start of our relationship, But as friends, But that's where the money is at. You know what I'm saying? That's where what
Right.
it's all about. You know?
And that's amazing, man, because like to your point, you know, when you meet your heroes or the people that inspire you and they acknowledge what you do, your work,
Mhm.
it you can't you can't put that into a dollar amount or you can't numberize that.
Nah.
It's really an equation that there'll never really be an answer, but it's an answer, you know. And I think that's brilliant that life has those moments in
It,
time in which you
it's
could actually
valid.
celebrate your
It's
purpose.
it's validation, and you go, wow, he actually knew who I am or was or whatever. And you just like, yo, I'm making noise. But like to my point, with few people out at that time, my thought was, all right, this is my time right now. So every record, I'm gonna play this turntable like it's a guitar, and it's gonna be a tutorial. So every record, even though Steady and I produced the records, I never got the credit for it. But what you gonna do? I'm letting you know now. Me and him made those records together. We made Three Times Dope's first records together. We made Cool C's first records together. You know what I mean? I taught him how to work the drum machine.
Wow. No, hold on. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. Breaking news, people.
Breaking news never stops.
Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this is turn the whole this up.
Who produced those epic records again?
So again, we bought this drum machine. We started with a 909, and we would like
This is
four
you
track,
and Steady B.
right? So we had a 909. Now prior to me, he had a 909. So he would tap out beats, blah blah blah. He actually did the Bring the Beat Back record. He did that record himself. He did that record. That was a fire. That record was fire, and he's nice on the drums. We go to this concert. Long story short, in New Orleans and Mantronics. He came up there with this drum machine. It was a Studio 440, sequential circuits. The drum machine was like $4,500, and that was like 88. It's a lot of money.
Right.
We went home. We got our advance. We bought the drum machine. He was like, I ain't working this. I don't know how to work this thing on it. He was like, you the DJ. Gave me the box with this big old manual. I went home and read the whole thing and learned how to work the drum machine. Went over to the studio and taught him how to work it. And then started going through records, coming up with samples. And we was just a tandem. You know what I mean? We was a team, just putting this stuff together. Let me think. Three Times Dope first record. We did that record. And that was nice. That's me and Boo the whole time. Juice Crew Disc. We did that record together. The Giddy Up. Three Times Dope. That was actually me. But let's just say I didn't get the credit for the whole. That was my whole entire idea. The whole thing was me. Then I came up with
Wow.
the cuts. So yeah.
Wow.
But then
And
this go ahead.
you brought up something that's really important and the legacy of how hard it is for DJs to be viewed as anything other than jukeboxes. Like we're jukeboxes when convenient, but we're not, but when it's time, hey man, we need a hot record. Can you put it together? And we put it together. Now we're Kanye West. Now they want us to do that. But when it comes to giving credit to that, you just spoke about it. Like that is probably been a lot of DJs' Achilles heel and Trojan horse. Oh, we love you, man. You're awesome. You're the best. I don't know. You ain't signed no contract. I don't know.
Well, one thing you touched on was us working with Chris with Karis One.
Right.
He was on fire. That guy was on top of everything when he came out. So and we loved him. So when the label stepped to us and was like, we was on our third album, and he was basically like, I want to work with them. You know, he was amped on production. So he was like, look, you guys can come up here, work with me, whoop, whoop, whoop. So we didn't really know him at all. We never met him before. I think we saw him at like a showcase or something. Two showcases when they signed him. We go up there, go to Power Play, and this is the famed, you know, Ivan Doc Rodriguez, and he's making
Shout
all
out
these
to
hot.
Doc Rodriguez,
Yeah.
man. DJ
they make,
Doc, you know he's down with us. Shout out to you, brother. Continue.
they were making some fire records. So KRS was like, he was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, he was so amped. He's jumping around, and he's just like, okay, we're gonna do this. And he had already started working on the song, so he was working on 3 records for us. And he stepped to me right away. He pulled me onto the side and was like, "Yo, come here." And he put this. He said, "I got 2 ideas for this." He said, "What do you think about this?" And he threw on some Kane sounding beat. It was like a raw, like a fast record. It was like James Brown, Kane. I was like, that's kind of already, old hat. It's already done. Then he threw on the Turtles record. Yeah, and that came on. I was tick, 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 tick. I said, that's the one right there. That one right there. He made the beat on the spot. Boop, 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 and he produced the whole record. He did those 3 records himself, and he was just so animated and amped up about it. And I grabbed the record and listened to it, and I was just like, "Yo, that I'm cheap. I wanna lay that." It just stood out to me, and it marries it, right? I said, and he was. I didn't even really know like his background. Like he told me this a couple years ago when I interviewed him. He told me I said, "What was like your earliest memories?" One of my questions in the interview of hip hop, and he said, "Tat Money," and I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He said, "Dude, we used to come to Philly when we first was putting out records, and I saw you DJing like nobody else ever DJing." And I'm just like, I didn't know his name or nothing at the time, but he's like, "Dude, my earliest memories is of you DJing." So when we were in the studio, he was like, "Go cut that shit up, cut it." Like he was and I'm like, does he know something about, like, how does he? All right, well, I'm gonna give you what I'm gonna give you anyway, but it's gonna be a tutorial. It's gonna be a funky lesson. You know what I mean? We're gonna make something memorable. So that's how that came about.
Dude, that cut was literally, I can't say it enough, man. That cut was just completely and utterly insane. It's one of the most memorable parts of that entire record. And you got KRS and Steady B on that record. And yet, that end, I would rock that thing for like 15 minutes straight. Just keep bringing that thing back, bro. Do you hear that? Do you hear what he's doing on that record? Like, that is amazing, man. Like, that is dope, bro. Talk about how you went from, I wouldn't say that they're hardcore KRS, but they were definitely alphas, the Steady B's, the KRS ones. They were alphas in the sense of, it was going to be hard when you heard it. How'd you get with Kwame? How did that go to there? Coming out of that particular, style. And I know hip hop was shifting at that moment. It was starting to do a twist into, you had native tongues starting to come together and blow up. You had, the tribes out. I mean, we needed that for hip hop as far as a change of approach. But you came in with that. Kwame already had his music out, and then you came in with that, like that whole new wave of Kwame, and it seemed to just be like, damn. Talk about that.
So, like, how we initially met up was at a show. It was in Virginia. I want to say it was in Richmond, Virginia, and it was with Kid and Play. So it was Kid and Play and Steady B, and it was snowed. We were snowed in It was like a snowstorm, and it really wasn't a lot of people at the show. So we still rocked. The promoter was like, whatever, it was blizzard or whatever. We still killed it. And Herbie and the crew were all there. And after the show, we in the hotel, we young bucks doing whatever, getting food out the vending machine, joking, laughing, practical jokes and whatnot. And Kwame walked over. He came over like, we knew of Herbie because he had done the Showstopper. We knew he was down with, Salt and Pepper.
All right.
And he did the Showstopper on our manager's label, Pop Art Records.
Pop Art. Yep.
Right. Which also did the bridge. They also released
Shout
the bridge.
out to Pop Art and that record label, which is a classic. It's a legendary label for the beginning. I kin that kind of to like what Tough City was, a Select, Profile. Mm-hmm. Like it was one of those kind of labels, Sunny View, those
mm-hmm.
labels in which you see them, you know what you're getting. Like you never got anything twisted when you look at Pop Art. You knew what you were gonna get. It was gonna be fire. Sure.
Well, he came to the room and he had like the dashiki on, and I'm kind of looking like, all right, well, who's this New York dude? Like who's this cat? Like he on some other stuff. Like he was real reserved.
Right.
He was super, super cool. And we just like hit it off. It was just like, all right, well, this dude is like real chill. And he kind of just said to me real quietly, like, yeah, I'm gonna be coming out soon. And he walked in with Herbie. So, and I knew Herbie was serious. And I'm just like, yo, this Herbie dude is on the money. Like he had everybody's respect. So especially had my respect. I was rapping to him, but I wanted to chat with him about the whole label and how he left and why he left and what have you. But they all, left out of the room or whatever. Maybe a couple of months later, I was getting like pressure to sign, sign a contract with Pop Art. I was a free agent. So I knew I was a free agent. I guess, basically not guess. I know what happened. 3 Times Dope left the camp. So, and they was, I kind of talked to them about things that was going on, whatever, business-wise, that was, we weren't getting this, that, blah, 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 credit, mechanicals, blah, blah, blah. So they got wind of it from someone else as well, who confirmed it, and then they was out of there. So that's when contracts started coming through, and it was like everybody's getting locked down, locked in, and I was like, fuck you, I'm not doing that for no 10, 12, get out of here. I ain't locking myself in no prison. It's not gonna happen. And not get credit, not get money, not gonna happen, man. So I basically backed out as far as the contract situation goes, and it was a done deal. It was a done deal. So then EST from 3 Times Dope informed Kwame that I was free, that I was wide open. He could, if he needed a DJ, and he needed one because he was having issues with his brother, B Flat at the time. So he seeked me out through EST. So we go up to New York, and he hit me with it like, yo, remember we met? I'm like, yeah, of course. And he had the first album out at the time, and his record was popping. He had the All Knowing Love. Yeah. So I was like, yo, he's killing it. So I was like, all right, you know what? I mean, and don't get it messed up. We be in the basement, and he's up there like rhyming over break beats and blah, blah, blah. But again, he just had a smooth style. It wasn't like, he's not Steady B, but he got some heat. And I just dug how he got down. So again, it's a business though. So you can put out, these hard records or whatever, and I mean, hope they sell. That's cool. But again, he's also the suave brother. He got that vibe putting out to the ladies and whatnot. So, he's pushing the angle, just like, with the suits and the different dress and not being like someone else. You know what I mean? Like he says in One of the Big Boys, he don't want to be one of the big boys. He want to be like himself. So that's where that whole style comes from. But that's how it all, came together.
Right. And like you said, Kwame for that moment in history was very needed in the shift. Because that sound, that particular delivery, and shout out to Herbie Lovebug, man, because I mean he just knows how to make some hits, don't he?
Phew.
He just reinvented himself and just said, all right, I got you all on this. And then create, everybody was rocking flat tops, Nefertiti's already, and the steps and and then he comes out with the blonde strip. Everybody had to have the strips in their hair. And it was just, it was a whole movement. It wasn't just Kwame rapping. He started a whole movement, the polka dots, everything. And then, like I said, that one song, Only You, I remember that moment. Like, that song was everywhere. Like, on every stage. Like, you heard that song 5-6 times a day. And we seen Tat Money. It was just like, okay, we can ride with this. Okay. The Tat there, we there. Okay. But talk about that movement. Once things start, because that was a hit record. Talk about what kind of energies you got in return from that for such a big record.
Well, the move in and of itself was monumental because that had never been done from really a DJ coming from a different crew from Philly going to New York. So that right there in and of itself was like huge. And then it was documented in Word Up magazine. That magazine was huge back then. And they bigged it up and was like, yo, I moved from Philly to New York. So then that already in and of itself just puts you on another level. It's like, whoa, all right, we can't get to him no more. He's in New York now. And I was up there with Kwame because, we was doing shows like Moments Notice. All right, I can't be home. If a show is, we got a show in the city somewhere. All right, we need you to do the show tomorrow. We got to rehearse. We got to get together. We got to get outfits together, this, that, and the third. You got to prepare for it. I can't be an hour and a half away. So in any event, it was just a good time. Energy was going good. You know what I mean? And our fan bases came together. That's what I saw when we went on the road. Like with he and I, people that went to Detroit. They love Steady B in Detroit. They also love Kwame in Detroit. Detroit got a lot of love. We love Detroit. Detroit is all that. Joe Louis Arena. I love it. Yes. So places like Little Rock, Arkansas, Milwaukee, California, all these places that we travel. Like when I travel with Boob, but then I'm traveling with Kwame, and his foundation was huge. He got that more popular stuff going on with the whole Idol Makers, Salt and Pepper, Dana Dane, Herbie Lovebug situation going on. So Kid and Play. So you got that major fan base behind you. So it was just a lot of energy, man. Great energy. Hopefully we see that again, is what I hope.
Yeah. Now speaking of that, and I love what you just said, seeing it again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I don't know what the hell anybody else been doing, but Philly has been doing it all over again. Over and over again. Like you can never like Philly don't stop. Like, I mean, Freeway, The Roots.
Yeah.
We got a hip hop group on a late show. Who would have thought they'd been alive long enough to see that?
That's crazy.
Philly is on a late night, one of the biggest late night shows, Johnny Carson late night show.
Right.
And, Philly, and Black Thought seems to be getting younger. Like, sounds like a little kid. Like somebody stole his wallet or something. Like he's coming back for his brother's revenge. Like Philly is just continuing to evolve. What do you think about that, Philly? And what does that mean? Because a lot of cities want to feel that way about their city, like feel that pride. Shout out to Beans. I forgot to say Beans. And you want to feel that pride about your city. What is that like to be that for Pennsylvania, the blue collar town.
That was he took the words out of my mouth. It's so
Right.
gritty. It's so
Yeah.
hard and so gritty. And you in the city, you see so much. I mean, of course, the tough part of it right now, you seeing about these deaths, which I wish would, would subside. But I mean, that's kind of always been there from like gang warring back in the days, from people was getting stabbed, and it elevated to getting shot now, and that's big city for you. What can I say? You know what I mean? If you go to any big city, for the most part. Look at Chicago. New York was really tough at one point, and it's still tough. You don't see or hear it as much, but that's all just coming from that, from the muscle. You know what I mean? It's just coming from that, and that's mentality. This, especially like with anything we do, music or sports or whatever. We're very passionate about all that we do. So,
Right.
you
Shout out
putting
to
your
Jill
all into
Scott.
it.
Shout out to Michael Jordan for supporting Philly with Hidden Beach Records. Shout out to all of this stuff that to your point, Philly's the East Coast Detroit, if you will. Like it is that working man's town, and but when you hear everybody out of there, you have this huge respect for them, because they're not fibbing on the story. Shout out to Cassidy. They're not fibbing on the story. They're not lying about what that is, because the brotherly love is the joke. Right? It's the joke.
It is. You get it.
It's the joke. God, we get it. Come on, man. I get it. I like cheese whiz. That's the joke, man. That's the joke. That is one of the grimiest places to be, most segregated motherfucking places to be. But there's love there, even in chaos, right? Even in hell, even in the worst conditions. That's what makes hip hop so great. We took the chitlins of music and made it into something. We took the lemons that was left for us and made it into something. That's hip hop. That's what we do. All right, you just gonna give us cheese whiz? All right, we turn that motherfucker into a steak, and you gonna like it. But does that inspire you? I don't know where you're living now, but knowing that your home is still churning out, like all the hard work you put in, the steadies, the Schoolie D's, all of these people put in work, and to see that the city's still evolving and still, wanting to has something to say, is that a good place to be for you?
It is. It's inspiring. It is. And I mean, like, for instance, when I hear Beans or Freeway, I mean, I know Freeway from before. When I hear them churning out this good music, this great music, when I hear Thought today kicking rhymes on, he's got new stuff out now. This the Good Morning song he got out with Pusha T. That record is bananas, and Swiss Beats, bananas, and he's doing freestyling. We know about Thought from way back in the days. He was doing this all along. This is just old hat for him. He's just like, what? Like, you need me to rhyme, or hold on, watch this rhyme? Like,
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That boy is incredible.
We know Thought from there, and that could have been it. He could have just died right there, and we would have all said, "Yo, how the hell is Black Thought not in your top 5?" And we would have been done with that. He's not even working on number 1 right now. He's working on all the slots. Like, you're gonna have to count him about 7 times before you even get to the next person. The way he is just losing it and becoming that person for everything. Like, you can't escape him. You try to get through the day without listening to him, you're gonna hear him. He went viral. He done spit a 30-minute freestyle thesis, and then before you go to bed at night, boom, there you go. You're gonna hear him again. Like, that's amazing.
And see, that is a testament to what we just talked about a while ago. About, and when I said the older brother syndrome, I'll add something to that and say the getting overlooked syndrome, because we got overlooked. So it's
Right.
like, well, wait a minute, you talked about what? And you skipped over us, and then you went to California or wherever you went. It's like, wait, hold up, hold, stop the press. That's not gonna happen. So when you get the opportunity, when you step up to that plate and you're on that stage, damn the jokes. They're gonna see right here, right now, what it is, and you like, wait, I gotta write about this. I gotta talk about this. These people they serious, and they won't stop coming. That's where thought is at. When I see him on Flex and he's doing these interviews and he's rhyming off 15 minutes, and I'm like, he been doing this, but he got a fight in his heart to say, like, you know what, I'm gonna put it down and put us on the map so that you
Right.
understand what it really is. And now finally people are starting to see it, you know?
Right. And it's a beautiful thing, man. You know, I do want to go into my favorite segment of the show, which is, as a DJ, you have to have this anyway. You just have to. There's just no way around it. So let's get into the Soul Show's top 5 dead or alive. Now, when I say top 5 dead or alive, it's not the vibes list. It's not the barbershop list. It's your list. 5 MCs who've inspired you, dead or alive, who you could say, if I had to leave with these 5, it'll be these 5. Who are those MCs? Go.
I gotta say Melly Mel.
Shout out to Melly Mel. Go Bronx.
I'm going to have to say Kumo D.
Oh, man, I just heard that battle yesterday and that he did at Harlem World, and I had to listen. It was like I never listened to it. And I listened to it again, and I'm like, wow, that was on some Philly shit. Like I picture Philly doing that, like, just bum rushing the whole show. Shut this shit down. What do you mean? He's battling me? I'm not even there. Like, that's amazing. Shout out Kumo D. Let's go.
After him, I'm going to have to say Rakim.
Yep, the God.
And this should be a top 10.
Right.
So many good ones. Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls.
Shout out to Brooklyn. Let's go.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many. Golly. That's 4. KRS One.
South Bronx. South Bronx. Let's go. Now, top 5 DJs, dead or alive.
Grandmaster Flash. Grand Mixer DST.
Yep. Shout out to DST. Let's go. Rock it.
Yeah. Jazzy Jeff. Shout
Philly,
out to my
stand
brother.
up.
Yeah. Cash Money. Absolutely.
Cash Money. Philly, stand up.
And I'll put myself in there. Number 5.
Hey, bro. And you wouldn't be wrong, bro. You wouldn't be wrong. I got to throw another one at you because you're in these machines, right? Top 5 producers, dead or alive. Go.
Let me see. Primo. DJ Premier.
Houston and Brooklyn. H-Town. Let's go.
Large Professor.
Shout out to Queens. LP. Yep.
Swiss Beats. I'll put him in there.
Yep. Shout out to the BX again.
And Dr. Dre, of course.
Everything Compton, man. Everything SSL too. I mean that brother. I mean, if SSL doesn't invest in Dr. Dre or vice versa, there's something wrong with this planet.
And Easy Moby.
Shout out to Brooklyn again. Brooklyn wins. Brooklyn wins. Easy Mo B, bro. You cannot lose with that SB12, man.
Again,
Man.
and should be top 10. I could say so many more. IWT. So many more.
What? Okay, we're gonna do this is another version of the show where one of my favorites. It's called the Quick Mix, and down south is known for that Quick Mix. And, when you put that record on, go to another record, go to another, go, boom, 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 keep going. So, without holding back anything, we're going to go run through a series of questions. We want 1 to 2 word answers. Keep it moving. All right?
Gotcha.
Let's go into what we call the Quick Mix on the Soul Show. Let's go.
My man throwing down.
Give it to them.
Favorite party records. Now, if you want to pick one of these records, we're going to just fly through them, like I said, series of questions. Good Times, Champ.
Good Times, Champ. I'm sorry, say again.
Good Times or Champ?
Oh, I got you. Champ.
Planet Rock or Clear?
Planet Rock all day long. Hard, but I go with Planet Rock.
The Message or Welcome to the Terror Dome?
Whew. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Dang.
Right? In the Club or Fresh is the Word?
In the club. Good God. It's your birthday.
Flavor in Your Ear or It's a G Thing?
Woo. Hey, on. That's like a tie, but G Thing.
Scenario or Symphony?
Jeez. Symphony.
Raw or Men at Work?
Raw.
Shout out to Big Daddy King. Yes. Touch of Jazz or The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash?
Adventures of Grandmaster Flash.
Wow. Okay.
Another tough one.
Yep. And finally, Girl, I'll House You or Me, Myself, and I?
Me, Myself, and I.
Shout out to Prince Paul De La Soul. Man, you chose some good records, man. If you had to go anywhere with those records, those are the records I'm pretty sure you go rock to, man. Hey, it's been such an honor to have you on tonight. Where can they find what you're doing? Where can they see if you got anything new going on? Tell the people them what you got going on.
So I guess shout out to all social media. I'm DJ Tat Money on Instagram, DJ Tat Money at DJ Tat Money, and Facebook as well. But I've been working actually on a documentary, and it's called Check the Rhyme. So myself and my partner Tim Smooth, I've been doing this for it's been 10 years. I've been working on this documentary. It's a lot of work, a lot of technical work, but we're finally at the end of it. So be on the look for that, because that should be released very soon. If not this year, end of the year. I'm looking to have this out. Netflix, Amazon, one of the heavy mediums out there. But check the rhyme. It's basically giving props to, we encapsulate the late 80s to the mid 90s. We capture that period of hip hop, and we talk about, it's basically like a blueprint to any cat coming up trying to learn, oh, how do I get in? I hear this question, how do I get in the music industry? How do I do this? And I guess they go get Fruity Loops or whatever the case. But we wanted to make this a documentary or a blueprint where cats could look at this and go, all right, this is how it started. This is why it started. So that puts the battery in my bag to tell me what I should be doing. So
Right.
that's really what we're doing with the documentary. So it's just giving you that, we talked to Grandmaster Caz and, JDL of the Cold Crush. We talked to Mo D. We talked to Doug Fresh. We talked to all the way up to Rakim, to Salt Pepper, to, Dana Dane, all the cats, the big players in the game, Kane. And they just talk about, and there's performances, a lot of performances. We talk about situations that have come up in hip hop. There's problems and then solutions, and we talked to, I can't give you all the people on it, but we really talked to most of the people who paved the way to make it happen. So
Right.
it's been a long time coming. It's a labor of love. We did it like it was a record, like an old school record, like an Adventures of Slick Rick. Something that was like every record. You never fast forward. Just listen. And we want it to be something major, and it is. I just got finished doing color correction on it. We're finishing up some score right now, and it'll be done. It'll be done finally after like 10 years. Good God.
Right. Amazing, amazing stuff. And you should. It's long overdue. We need more of our legends out in the forefront. There has been a cancel culture when it comes to our legends. Oh, you're too old. You don't need here. You got to make room for all the young bucks, and that's true too. But there's also a vibration of, how come, these legends aren't, either given a platform to talk from a real place instead of being, objectified, like taken out like, old show ponies.
Yeah.
There's way more knowledge, there's way more wisdom and understanding that can be given to the younger generation. And there can be a coming together in this new year that I believe with the youth in a real way, so that we could take back this thing called music and put it in the hands of people that actually give a fuck about the people doing the music. And they don't want that. They don't want those numbers. They don't want us coming together that way. They want us divided, every man for themselves, and those things are cool too. But, as an artist, you see it right now, man. It's tough being an artist out there. If you're not doing it for the love, there's going to be a lot more disappointment than there is people that are well off, because they're not giving that money out to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you could get out here and make, these songs, and it's a real quick hit. You make a few bucks, and then where you at 6 months down the line?
Right.
All money's not good money. So, you gotta, like I said before, it's gotta be some kind of passion to it. If you're doing something, it's gotta come from the heart. So again, the film is the story is told by the pioneers. So it lets you know. When you watch it, I want you to get chill bumps all over. Just like when you went to go see Wild Style back in the days. That was as pure as they come. Beat Street was a good movie. I liked Wild Style though. It captured the culture, the breakbeat, breakdancing, the rhyme, and the DJing, the graffiti. It was just there. You know what I mean? And that's all part of the culture. So that's the kind of film that we have, our documentary. So we got some live performances in it. There's a DJ section, there's an MC section, and we, like you just did, we talk about who's the best this, the best that, and we touch on those situations. And again, it's told by the pioneers and out of their mouths. And so you can sit and go, wow, Grandmaster Caz, he penned, co-wrote one of the biggest rap records ever in Rapper's Delight. You
Right.
know, so yeah,
Completely and utterly an amazing story. I knew talking to you what I was going to get before I talked to you, and you delivered it, bro. You know, like I said, it's been an honor and privilege to talk to you. You're part of my story, and I can't tell my story without telling yours. And it's just like I said, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. People, Orlando, look out for this man's documentary coming out. That's important for hip hop, and it's important for the humanity. It's a great thing to not have to be angry or stressed out about something. This sounds like it's gonna put a lot of love back into where it needs to be and less hate. So, count me in for that, brother. Count me in for that. Also, too, we're gonna put portions of this interview on 98.5 The Wire. So if you can do a drop for the show and send that to the email address, that would be very appreciated because we want that interview to come in right on time. You know what I'm saying? But once again, go ahead.
I got you covered all day. You know, you got that.
Hey, thank you, my brother. Give it up one time for the legendary, the one and only. The man cannot be duplicated. DJ Tat Money. Give it up. Salute, my brother. Salute. Yes.
Salute, brother Rome. Salute, my dude.
Yes. Stand up, Philly. Philly, stand up. Let's go.
Word up.
Yes. You know how we're doing it, my brother. You know how we're doing it, my sisters. This is the Sound of Orlando show. This is your boy Rome, live and direct. And tomorrow we're ending up this week on a DJ, marathon. My brother from UTFO, the one and only legendary Mix Master Ice, is coming on the Soul Show tomorrow night. Mix Master Ice will be on the show once tomorrow night. Please tune in. We love all you guys. Shout out to everybody that was tuning in tonight. My man Ricky Rigg, my man Jesse Jazz, my man B Love. He's gonna be on. Man, so many people to thank. Man, shout out to Will on the check-in. Shout out to Aletha on the check-in. Shout out to all of you, man. You guys make the show run. We thank you, and like I said, we'll be back tomorrow night. Peace, love, hair grease, all that business. And go to our YouTube page, support what we're doing. Support us on Facebook at The Soul Show. And we love you, man. Holla.
Live on stage, the sound
Up Orlando!
So, is they ready? The sound
Up Orlando!